Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video we are going to be making this little man from the Saw movies. He is what I consider a no-sew pattern. So I'm going to start with his arms, move on to his legs, join them and work my way up. We'll attach the arms as we go and then finish his head and attach his eyes. And then we will have to sew on his cheeks and his little eyebrow, and then embroider his nose and his mouth, and then add his hair. For this pattern, I am using just a number 4 worsted weight yarn, a 4.25 millimeter hook, and just some clear 20 millimeter safety eyes that I painted with red paint. So if you're going to be using painted eyes, make sure you get them done before you get too far, or you're going to have to wait while they dry. I'm just going to let you in on something that I tried, but I felt like I failed at. I wanted to have him to have kind of a 3D mouth, but I couldn't make it work. Although, now that I have different top lips, that doesn't look that bad. So I'm going to include this little piece as a screenshot when we get to doing his lips and his face. And then if you want to try making it look a little more 3D, you'll have that available to you. This is a crochet along, so I will be doing every stitch with you, and I am also providing a drop down at the top of the screen for the first 30 seconds of every row for you to follow along with. And if you enjoyed this or any of my other videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Not only does that help me out, but you will also be notified every time I load a new video. Okay, I think that's everything. So grab your yarn and let's get started. Okay, we're going to start with the arms. We're going to make 2, and you can begin any way you want. Magic circle or chaining 2, whichever you prefer, as long as you keep the same amount of stitches for row 1. What I like to do is I fold my yarn in half. I make a knot with a loop on the end as if you're going to chain. And then I'm just going to insert my hook into the loop, grab my yarn, and chain 1. And that does not count as a stitch. That just attaches your yarn to the loop. And for row 1, you're going to do 6 single crochets into your loop. And go over your tail if you're doing it my way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you just pull your tail to close up that little hole there. Grab a stitch marker if you are using one. And for row 2, you're going to do 6 increases. So that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 12. So increase 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, increase 9 and 10, and our last increase 11 and 12. Row 3 and 4 is 12 single crochets all the way around, and I'll be doing those consecutively. So 2 times 12 is 24. So I'm going to count to 24 and flip my marker when I hit my first set of 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now flip my marker and keep on counting. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Row 5, we are going to do what I call a double crochet cluster of 3 for the thumb, and then we're going to do 11 single crochets around for a total of 12. So to begin your cluster, you're going to go yarn over into the next stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, and you're going to go through the first 2 loops on your hook, and then that's one. So you're going to do that 2 more times. Yarn over into that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. You now have 3 loops, and one more time for your third one. Yarn over in that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, go through the first 2 loops on your hook. You have 4 loops left, and now you're going to grab your yarn and you're going to go through those 4 loops, and there's your little cluster. Now we have 11 more to go around, but I'm going to count this as 1, and then our next stitch will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 12. Row 6, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 8. So 1 single crochet for 1, a decrease for 2, and then we're going to repeat that around. So another single crochet for 3, decrease for 4, and then 5, decrease for 6, 7, and a decrease for 8. Rows 7 to 14 is going to be 8 single crochets all the way around, and I'm going to do those consecutively. So that's 8 rows, and I'm going to do a set of 4 rows and a set of 4 rows. So 8 times 4 is 32. So I'm going to go 32, flipping my marker every time I hit a set of 8, and then start again and do another 32 to get my 8 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, flipping my marker, 9, 10. I know it's tiny, but let's take your time. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, flipping my marker, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, flipping my marker, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. So that was my first 4 rows of 8 rows. So I'm going to start at 0 again and then count to 32. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, excuse me, 7, 8, flipping my marker and keep on counting, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, flipping my marker, 17, 18, oopsie, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, flipping my marker, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. We can take our stitch marker out if we used one and grab your stuffing. And what I like to do is take enough for what I think will be both arms, and then I split it in half. And then I put one to the side so we have the same amount for each arm. And then I'm going to split this probably about 3/4 on one side and 1/4 on the other side. One's going to be for the hand and one's going to be for down the arm, because we want to have a little more stuffing in the hand so it's kind of on the firmer side, and then the arm we want that to be nice and light so it doesn't stick straight out. And then you just want to kind of put this second piece evenly down your arm. There we go. So decide how thick you want that in there. And then when you're happy with how much stuffing is in there, get your hook back out and we're going to close the top. So what you want to do is go in the next stitch on the front, and then the last stitch, sorry my lights may be too bright here, on the back. So you're under both sides of that V, and then you're just going to put 3 single crochets across. So 1, 2, 3, And then you'll just tie that off, leaving a tiny bit of a tail. Even though we are sewing them in as we go along, I do something with the tails at the end that kind of, I think, enhances the durability of the little guy. Now, if you've just finished your first arm, I will be putting a screenshot in the next frame with a timestamp so you can go back and start your second arm. And if you are finished your second arm, just keep on watching and we will go to the next part. Okay, now we're going to start with the feet. Can we see this on here? Yeah, I guess so. So start however you prefer, just like you did before with the arm. Just remember to have the same amount of stitches in row 1. And I'm going to do my knot with the loop on the end. Grab my yarn and chain 1. Remember that doesn't count as a stitch, that just attaches your yarn to your loop. And for row 1, we are going to do 6 single crochets into that loop. Remember to go over your tail. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then pull your tail to close that hole. Grab a stitch marker if you are using one. And for row 2, we are going to do 6 increases all the way around, so 2 single crochets in every stitch. So increase 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, increase 9 and 10, and our last increase 11 and 12. Row 3, we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. So single crochet for 1, increase 2 and 3, and then repeat that around. So our next one is 4, increase 5 and 6, 7, increase 8 and 9, 10, increase 11 and 12, 13, increase 14 and 15, 16, and your last increase 17 and 18. Row 4, we're going to be going in the back loops. So if you've never gone in the back loops before, instead of going under both sides of that V, you are going to come down in between the V's and go out the back, and then just single crochet how you normally would. Whoops. Okay, so for round 4 in the back loops, 18 single crochets all the way around. So 1 in that back loop, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you should start seeing a little ridge around here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and our last one in the back loop, 18. Row 5 is going to be another 18 single crochets, but we'll be going back to the normal way under both sides of that V. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 6, we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 12, but when you get to your last stitch, don't finish that off because we're going to be changing color. So 1 single crochet, 1 decrease for 2, single crochet for 3, decrease for 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, decrease for 8, 9, decrease for 10, 11, and our final decrease, you're going to go in, grab your yarn, and again grab your yarn, and then leave it right there, and we're going to attach our next color. So this will be the pant color, and since you can't see black very well, I'm going to use blue. And all you're going to do is tie your yarn nice and close to your hook about 2 or 3 times. However you feel is the most secure. And then you can cut your previous color off. And then you're just going to grab your new color and pull that through your last decrease to finish off that row. Rows 7 to 12 is just going to be 12 single crochets all the way around, and that's 6 rows, and I'm going to do that like the arm. I'm going to do a set of 3 rows and a set of 3 rows. So 3 times 12 is 36, so I'm going to count to 36 consecutively, flipping my marker every set of 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I'm going to flip my marker and keep on counting. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, flip my marker and keep on counting, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So that's my first 3 rows of 6 rows. So I'm going to count, start at 0 again and count again to 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, flipping my marker and keep on counting, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. You can take your stitch marker out if you used one. Now, if this is your first leg, you can slip stitch in the next stitch and then tie that off. Give it a cut, leaving a little bit of a tail. If this is your second leg, don't cut it because you're going to keep on going to attach the 2 legs. Okay, so with your working yarn leg, you're going to take your other leg, insert your hook just in front of where you tied off, and make 1 single crochet to attach those 2 together. And for row 13, you're going to do 12 single crochets around your first leg and 12 single crochets around your second leg for a total of 24. So you have 1 already. So your next one will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then you're going to go around your last stitch and your slip stitch for 12. Whoop. Now you're going to go into the next leg and find your last stitch, which is right here. And you're going to go in the next stitch and do another 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whoops, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now you should have 24 stitches in that row, but if you don't worry about it, and don't worry about this little hole. We'll use this to close that up later. But you will want to grab a stitch marker because your next row, oh, I have one. Oh, I took it out. Don't know why I did that. Your next row, you want to make sure you have 24 single crochets all the way around. So when you get to the end, if you don't have 24, do a decrease or an increase to fix that. You shouldn't be more than one stitch off, I wouldn't think. So making sure you're starting in that next stitch right there. You're going to do for row 20 or 14, you're going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and you should have 24 back at your stitch marker here, and this is where you will increase or decrease to get 24. Is the back. There's also a jacket, so nobody will know but you that you have one extra stitch or one less stitch added right at the back. Okay, now that you've made sure you have 24 stitches in that row, row 15, we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. So making sure you're in the right stitch. 1, 2, 3, and an increase, 4 and 5, and repeat that sequence all the way around. 6, 7, 8, and an increase, 9 and 10. 11, 12, 13, and an increase, 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, and an increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, and an increase, 24 and 25, 26, 27, 28, and your last increase, 29 and 30. Rows 16 and 17 are just going to be 30 single crochets all the way around, and I'm going to do those consecutively. So I'm going to count to 60, and on our 60th stitch we're going to be changing color, so don't finish off that last stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So that was one of our 2 rows. So I'm going to keep on counting. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, and 60. Remember, only go in and pull up, don't finish that stitch. Now we are going to change to where I did the little cummerbund, I believe they're called still. So grab your next color, which should be red. And you're just going to tie that nice and tight, close to the hook. Cut off, which I'm assuming will be your black. And then pull that next color through those 2 loops of the last stitch to finish off that row. And we're just going to pause for a second, and we are going to sew up this hole in the middle before I switch back to my black piece. So grab your darning needle. Oh wait, I got new ones. 1 second. Okay. So you want to find your thread from your first leg. Let's see how this works. Well, it went in fine. And then using your finger to kind of show where the hole is, you're going to go back and forth into these 4 stitches. Oh, it is a little thicker than I'm used to. You're just going to go into the other side and grab the other one. Oops. And then just keep doing that until you feel like you have that hole closed. Like, it's already pretty good for me here. And just take a few stitches at a time. However many you feel you need. When you're happy, just stick your finger there and kind of make sure there's no holes. And then you can just tie that off. And I cut mine for a little bit, an inch or two long, and then get rid of that so it's not in my way. Okay, I'm switched back to the proper colors now that we're done with the black yarn. And for row 18, we're going to do 30 single crochets all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. For rows 19 and 20, we are also going to do 30 single crochets all the way around, only these two rows will be all in the back loops. So remember, for the back loop, you go down in between the V's and out the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, oops, I didn't get all the way under that back loop, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. That was row 19 in the back loops, and row 20 we're going to do in the back loops as well. 30 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and our 30th stitch we are just gonna we're gonna do a color change, so we're just gonna go in halfway, pull up that loop, so we have our 2 loops on the hook. And now we're going to be switching to our shirt color, so white presumably. We're just going to tie that on nice and close to the hook a couple of times. Oh, let's cut that red. And then just pull that next color through to finish off the last stitch of the last round. Row 21 is going to be another 30 single crochets in the back loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Row 22, another 30 single crochets, but this time we will be going under both bees back to the normal way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Row 23, we are going to do 3 single crochets and a decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. So 1, 2, 3, and a decrease for 4. 5, 6, 7, and a decrease for 8. 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12. 13, 14, 15, and a decrease for 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24. Row 24 to 26. It's going to be 24 single crochets all the way around, and that's 3 rows, and I'm going to do them consecutively. So 3 times 24, 72, I believe. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, flipping my marker, and I'm going to keep on counting. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, flipping my marker, and I'm going to keep on counting. 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 50, oh, what the heck, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, and 72. Row 27 is going to be 2 single crochets, a 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. So 1, 2, and a decrease for 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, 8, and a decrease for 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, and a decrease for 18. Row 28, we're going to do the arms, and I'm just going to show you in case you're for some reason not in the same spot as me. Fold your little character nice and flat, and your arms have 3 stitches in it, so you're going to be going this way. Find the stitch on the end and the 2 stitches on the side. That's where your arm is going to be, and I'm just going to mark it just in case you need this info. So we might not have the same starting stitches. I am going to have, let's see here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side, and I'm going to have 1 on this side for 6, 3, 6, 3. So there's 18 total stitches all the way around, and I'm going to put up top as we go what we're doing. Just remember, you might have to adjust your stitches at the beginning and the end. So to begin row 28, 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which brings me up to where I marked my arm. So you're going to grab your arm, and with the thumbs facing the front, this is your back, the side you're looking at right now, and your strings towards the front. You're going to insert your hook in the first stitch of the arm and the next stitch of the body. So right there. And you're going to do 3 single crochets through the arm and the body. 1, 2, and 3. Now you're going to have 6 crochets across the front. Make sure you're in the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now you're on the other side where you're going to need to grab your other arm, making sure the thumb and the string are pointing to the front. And you're going to go through the arm and the body, 3 single crochets across. 1 through the arm, through the body, 2, and the last time through the arm and through the body, 3. And then I have 1 single crochet left, and you may have to adjust if you are in a different spot than me. And we're ready to start the next row. Now we're going to start doing the head, so if you need to do any stuffing down here, do it now. I gotta wait because I don't have enough height in my camera angle. So for row, what is it, 29, we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, and an increase, 3 and 4, 5, 6, and an increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, and don't go over these strings, you want them on the outside, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, and an increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, and an increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, and an increase, 23 and 24. Row 30 is going to be 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, and an increase, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, and an increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, and an increase, 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, and an increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, and an increase, 24 and 25, 26, 27, 28, and an increase, 29 and 30. Row 31 is going to be 4 single crochets, 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and an increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and an increase, 17 and 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and an increase, 23 and 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and an increase, 29 and 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and an increase, 35 and 36. Row 32 is going to be 5 single crochets, 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 42. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an increase, 6 and 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and an increase, 13 and 14. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and an increase, 20 and 21. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and an increase, 27 and 28. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and an increase, 34 and 35. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, and an increase, 41 and 42. Rows 33 to 39 are going to be 42 single crochets all the way around. And I'm going to use my stitch marker for these rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, So that was row 33. Another row of 42 single crochets. Oopsie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. So that was row 34. And another row of 42 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. That was row 35. Another row of 42 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42. That was row 46 or 36. Another row of 42 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. So that was row 37. Another row of 42 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, whoopsie, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42. So that was row 38, and we're going to 39, so we have one more row left. And we are doing a total of 7 rows, so I'm just going to double check before I do my last row that I have 6. So I just find my last increase, and then I count my 6 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, so I have one more row left of 42. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, oops, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42. So that was row 39. Row 40, we are going to do 5 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and a decrease for 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and a decrease for 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and a decrease for 36. Row 41, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease for 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decrease for 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and a decrease for 25. Oops, 26, 27, 28, 29, and a decrease for 30. Row 42, we are going to do 30 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, whoopsie, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Row 43, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease for 4. 5, 6, 7, and a decrease for 8. 9, 10, 11 and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15 and a decrease for 16, 17, 18, 19 and a decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23 and a decrease for 24. And row 44 is just going to be 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. All right, I'm going to add stuffing now and the eyes. So I'm going to do most of it off camera, but I'll get started on camera. So I haven't stuffed any of mine, so I have to get all the way down into the feet. Hopefully you guys have been stuffing as you've been going. If not, make sure you get those feet nice and firm. Kind of flatten the bottom out if you can. And try and stuff the same amount on both sides. And remember, don't overstuff it. If you start seeing your stitches opening, like this right here, you've got enough. If you go any further, you're going to see little white holes everywhere, and you don't want that. And then when you get to the body, you kind of go a little softer, a little squishier. And then once you're at the head, you want that a little firmer, but it doesn't have to be fully stuffed right now. You just want enough stuffing to kind of see the shape and where the eye placement's going to be. I'll probably be taking most of the head stuffing out while I finish off the rest. So that's good enough for now. Let's try and come a little closer. So the eyes are going to be going between rows 38 and 39. But if you don't want to count all the way up, it's going to be 6 rows down. So between the 6th and 7th row from where we stopped at row 44. And then before you do anything else, just kind of check if you have it in the center and I think I'm pretty good. You can use the stitches between your arms to kind of double check. I just count over. This is my center right here, so for me it's pretty close. Now I'm going to be counting over 4 holes to put my eye in. Keep in mind, if you're not using the same size eyes as me, you might want to go a little closer, but it will all affect how the rest of the face gets done once your eyes are in. So 1, 2, 3, and then in that 4th stitch, you'll put your one eye. And then you're going to do the same with the other. You're going to go over 4 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and in that 4th hole, you're going to put your other eye. And if you are using the cheaper eyes that you had to trim, I just like to make sure this little white mark is down at the bottom, because when I suck it in, it'll kind of hide that little mark. So then you're just going to kind of have a look, double check that you're happy with where they are, kind of look at the arms and the legs. I might be moving mine over 1 actually. Let's see, move them both over 1. It's hard to tell when I look in the when I look at it myself, it looks right, and then when I look in the camera, it looks crooked, but I just think that's the angle I'm using. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that there. So I'm still the same distance apart. I moved them both over 1 stitch. All right, so if you are happy with that, get your backs on. Okay. All right, I'm going to take some of my stuffing out to make it a little easier for me to close this. You guys can decide how much stuffing you want in there. Just remember, the more you take out, the harder it is as you get a smaller hole on the top. Let's see if I can do this now. So for row 45, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. 1, oh no, 2, and a decrease for 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, 8, and a decrease for 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, and then a decrease for 18. Remember to stuff if you need to. We have 2 rows left. Row 46 is going to be 1 single crochet, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. So 1 single crochet and a decrease for 2, 3, and a decrease for 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, and a decrease for 8, 9, and a decrease for 10, 11, and a decrease for 12. And I'm just going to stop a minute and stuff what I have left in the head. Okay, and for our last row 47, you're going to do 6 decreases. Try not to catch the stuffing as you're doing them, or to pull your stitches any more than you need to. So 1 decrease, 2 decreases, 3 decreases, 4 decreases, 5 decreases, and 6 decreases. And then you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch and tie off, leaving enough of a tail to sew the circle closed. And I'm going to take my stitch marker out. If you need to add stuffing, remember this is your last chance in that tiny little hole. And you want his head to kind of be a little pointy up top when you've stuffed it. There is a little bit of shaping when we pull the eyes in, but you want to make sure you got a nice full head on top. You're going to thread your darning needle, and you're just going to weave in and out of those top stitches of your last row. And you're going to pull it to close. And then you're going to just give it a tie to secure that. Not used to this needle. And then just tuck that down and out the back somewhere. Oh, it does slide nice through the stuffing. Unless I just got lucky. And let's deal with the arm strings while we're doing this. So we're going to thread one side, and you're going to stick that down inside where your last stitch joining the arm to the body was. And you're going to come out the center neck somewhere. Oh, it does slide like butter through there. And then you're going to do that with the other side. So right in the same hole as the last stitch. And then out the same hole that you brought your other arm thread through. And then you're going to give that one knot, keeping track of the strings, so you're keeping the right sides on the right sides and not crossing them again. And if you wrap them around his neck and then turn them around, and what you're going to do is you're going to take each side and you're going to pull to bring those arms in and hide the knots and just kind of make them a little more secure. And then you just tie that in the back. Oh, okay, let's see how a double thread goes through this. Ah, look at that. Okay. And then you're just going to hide that out the back somewhere. Trim the ends. Okay, I guess we'll make the cheeks next. So you're going to be making 2 of these, and again, you can start any way that you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches for row 1. And I'll be starting with the knot with the loop on the end, as if you're going to chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, chain 1. Remember, that does not count as a stitch. That just attaches your yarn to your hook. And for row 1, you're going to do 8 single crochets into the loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, you're going to be doing 1 single crochet, 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. So 1 increase, 2 and 3, 4 increase, 5 and 6, 7 increase, 8 and 9, 10 and increase, 11 and 12. Row 3, you're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 16. So 1, 2, and an increase, 3 and 4, 5, 6, and an increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, and an increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, and an increase, 15 and 16. Row 4, you're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 20. So 1, 2, 3, and an increase, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, and an increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, and an increase, 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, and an increase, 19, and 20. And our final row, row 5, we're just going to do 20 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Then you're just gonna slip stitch in the next stitch, tie that off, leaving quite a bit of a tail to sew this on. So what I usually do is I like to make sure it'll go around about 4 times, and that'll easily give me lots to work with. So if you've just completed your first one, there will be a screenshot in the next frame, so you can go back and do your second one. And if you've done your second one, just keep on watching for the next part. Okay, so let's make the spirals. So what I did to get my length is I wrapped my yarn around my hand 15 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And that was more than enough to put the stripes on both sides. The first time I used the whole string and did the first one. This time I'm going to cut it in half so I don't have to pull all that string through. It's still going to be a lot. So this is what it's going to look like when it's finished. You're going to start in this very first stitch after your loop, so that as you go around, every stitch for 3 rows is going to have a red line in it. And then when you get down to where you tied off, 1 row up is where you're going to end. Okay, so let's thread our color on our darning needle. So you're going to find that first stitch. I think it's right here. So I wasn't sure if it was this one or this one. If I'd started in this one, when I'm totally done and I'd seen I missed a stitch, I'd come back up and fix that there at the end. So leave a little bit of your string for tying at the end. Then you're going to go in the next hole. Then you're going to go in the next and make sure you're going along the right line and you don't skip down a row. And then you're going to go back into the stitch you just went down in. Whoops. And then move on to the next stitch. And then back into the last stitch. And you're just going to do that all the way around. If you're sticking with me while we do this whole thing. I'm just going to mention that I do have a craft page that you can share your work with me. There should be a link down in the description. Somehow I got wrapped around that string. If you click more, see more under the video, you can go over there, find the YouTube post, click on that, and then you should be able to leave me a comment and a picture. I do have Instagram, but I'm not very good at looking at it or figuring out what people have left me as far as if there's a tag or a message. So I probably either won't answer you, or it could be like 3 months later and you'll get a random comment. I'm trying to use TikTok a little more. This month I got all my Halloween stuff on there. But I still have a lot more to add to that. But right now I am a little more active as far as checking notifications there. But I'll always look at my Facebook ones. So we're working on our second round now. I feel like I'm getting these twisted on the inside, but I guess that don't matter. Alright, we're about to start on our third and last little ring here. And remember, we're just going around till we are about even with where we tied off. So don't go past that. Or you can if you want an extra stripe. All right, we're almost even with our knot where we tied off, so just kind of watch how many more stitches you're doing. I'm about right even with it right now, and I think I'm going to do one more just so I kind of am a little bit under where my first one started. And then you're going to fold that out so you can kind of control your tension. And don't tie this too tight. And you're just going to tie it in a knot closer to the top if you can. Nice and loose. And then as you tie more knots, get a little bit tighter. Careful not to stretch or pull your stitches on the other side. And you're going to give that a cut. And there you go. Okay, for the cheeks, you want to grab a little bit of stuffing. Not a lot, but try and make sure you have about the same amount. And we'll put that inside. And you want, try and decide where your spiral is. I want to put my tie on the outside, kind of where his hair is going to cover it. So mine is going to go like this. And kind of position it at a 45-degree angle to the eye. And we're going to pin it on the row that we put the eye in. So this row right here is where we want the top of our cheek to be. And then when you kind of swing it around a bit so that it's tucked up tight, nice and tight against the eye, but not so far that you're not going to get a needle in there to put your stitches in when you sew it on. And you're going to be about 2 or 3 rows up from the neck. So keep holding it in place for a minute and put your other 2 pins in on each side. And then now, just have a little look, make sure you like where it's sitting, and then you're going to put a bunch more pins in between your original pins. And if you have a hard time with it sticking, when you put your pin in, put it straight down and then put it at a 45-degree angle or flat against or 90, and then stick it in, and that, see how good that holds? 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think I have enough pins right now to put any more in. I might just stick this in here too. Okay, so now you got to match up the other side. So again, remember you want your string to match whatever you did on this side. And mine's going pretty much straight out. Get your eye kind of on, or your cheek kind of on the 45 from that eye. And then up on this line right here where you put your eyeball to begin with. Let's stick that in there. That might be in the way, yo. Alright, so let's get our first pin in up there. Swing this around. Make sure your stuffing's on the inside so that it is against your eye. And 2 or 3 rows up, whatever you did on the other side. Just kind of a look. This has to come down a little bit. Try and get through both of the V stitches there when you're pinning. Yep, I'm out of black pins already. have a look. Check that you're happy with where they are. Make sure they're kind of the same distance across the eye, so they're kind of just a little more than in the middle. And if you're happy, put your other pins in. I'm going to stick this guy on this side. Help hold that for moving around. Okay. Now we'll get a scrap or piece of red for the lips. Okay, now I'm going to grab a pin to start marking where I want my mouth. And you're going to go in that first hole under the eye, just over from the cheek. And you're going to go down 3 rows. So 1, 2, 3, and you're just in front of where your cheek is. Then you're going to go over, following that row, and you are going to match that on the other side, just in front of where your cheek ends. And then you hopefully will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches in between. You want to find the center. So now you have 2 holes on each side. And grab your thread, and you're going to come up a row or 2 underneath, and you're going to come up that center stitch. Leave a little bit of thread for tying. Then you're going to go over 1 stitch in front of your pin and come back out that center stitch. You want these to be on the looser side because these are the puffy part of his lip. And go in that same stitch and back out 1 stitch in front of the outside of your mouth. So this is going to be the outside of the puffy part of the lip. Whoop. Oh, now I'm stretching my stitch. Okay. Now you're going to do the same thing for this side. You go in the center and back out. I'm trying to go slow, so I hope I'm going slow enough for you. Make sure those stay kind of puffy. Then when you go back in, this one you're going to come out for the edge of your mouth. Whoops, I got some thread there. Just kind of got to shape these a bit. And now you're going to come over to the other side of the edge of your mouth and out where you started. Now, how's that look here? This one's got to be a little on the tighter side. You just might have to play with that a little bit, just to make it look a little more smoother. I think I might be able to use this same thread to do my bottom lip, so I'm going to just re-thread that. You may need to get a new thread. And I'm going to go back where I came out. I'm going to come 1 row down from where my little puffy part of my lip is. So I'm just inside 1 stitch from this guy. We're going to go this way. Okay. And so we're going to match that on the other side. So I'm just right underneath here. I have 1, 2, 3 holes in the center. And I'm going to come back out that same stitch so I can go around twice. And then I'm going to go back in and out where I started. And you may have to kind of push those where you want them. Now we'll tie those and put them out the back, and tie them very loosely so you're not pulling your lips. I don't think I'm getting all that in there, am I? Oh, I did. And then down and out the back somewhere. Careful not to pull your stitches when you're doing this part. You may even want to hold them if that helps. I just got a little bit of a hole there. I'm just going to kind of lift up and smush around to hide that. Now I'm going to kind of be doing this the harder way, but it's just because I want to be able to check my stitches when I go down. So I'm going to go under where I have the bottom part of the mouth. Leave quite a bit on this side because I'm going to go around and then back out, and then I'm going to be able to use both these sides to kind of see where I want my angle. So I'm going to go back in above the lip and then back out on the side of the lip. And then that way we'll have 2 strings hanging down. So we can kind of, and I see I have 2 stitches on this side somehow. Anyway, so now just decide how much of an angle you want to have, and I'm just having a tiny little bit of an angle, and I'm going to go in about 3 rows down, so 1, 2, 3, so right about there. And then just come out in the middle somewhere. This is where we're going to tie it. So doing this way, you are going to have to rethread the other side. And just kind of match your angle and your line of stitch. There, I think. And then come back out there. I think that's good enough. And then we'll give it a light tie and thread it out the back. So down through that same hole and out the back. Again, remember not to pull too hard on the other side. Where is my needle? There it is. I could find which end is coming. There we go. Fix my little hole I made. And you may have to hide that little spot of black. Okay. This one will. There we go. Now we're gonna kind of bring the eyes in. And I accidentally found a different way of doing this when I was making little white accents on the eyes, my thread slipped under the eye. And then I realized instead of going in here where I always go and pulling that stitch, I can go actually around the post of the eye. So we're going to go in around the center. We're going to come out under the eye. Leave some length to tie. And now we have to wrap around that eye. You want to get as close to the post as you can get. And then you're going to go down back under the eye and all the way over to the other side. Try and stay in the same row if you can, and come back out under the eye again. Sorry, I'm kind of slow at this part. And same thing, you're going to wrap. So we went up, I went up on the other one, so I'm going to go up on this one, around the post, back under the eye, and then over. See, I'm stretching the stitches a bit here though, so I don't know if it makes much difference, but long term I feel like it will. Why is this stuck? There we go. Now, let's put a knot in and pull them and see how they come together. Now be careful not to break your yarn. This isn't working quite as good. And then give it a few ties. And thread your needle and put them back out. Back. This one you can pull as much as you want. Oh, that's nice. I just put black strings on there. Them over, have a bit of a look. I think that's okay. That kind of will give him a little ridge for his nose now. And just remember when you have your cheeks pinned on there that you may have to bring them a little closer now to the eyes. Alright, now for the nose, get some white. And then you're just going to kind of have to pick where you want it. I think I'm going to go just, what am I? 1, 2, I'm 2 rows up from where I started my mouth row. And I'm just a little bit inside the eyes. Is that even? I think I'm going to go there. So I have 2 stitches, or 2 holes between my stitches. I'm just going to start a row under. I'm just going to go around and around like I did the mouth. And hope that I'm even. And I couldn't tell you how many times I went around, but quite a few. I'm going to say more than 6 probably, or at least 6. But just go until you kind of feel like you got, like you can tell there's a nose there. So if your yarn is thicker than mine, you're probably not going to need as many times. And if it's thinner, you may need a little more. Just kind of watch how they're going as you go around. I think this might be my last one. Yeah. So now I'm going to go in and come out where I started. think that's a good enough bump. I hope you guys can see this. It looks really bright in my phone. And then just pop that back down and out the back. And this one you will have to be careful not to pull your nose too tight. I'm just going to hold on to my last string, although I don't feel it pulling. There it is a bit. Nice if I knew what side to pull on here. There we go. Hopefully I didn't pull my nose too tight. Looks okay. Actually, that's a cute little nose. All right. I guess we're gonna sew his cheeks on. I definitely need to move mine up a bit higher or pin it up there so I make sure it's there against the eye. There, actually that will work. I'm just moving it up a bit so it sits against the eyeball. Alright, so you're going to thread your yarn on your needle. And starting on the one side, I'm going to go this way around. I'm going to go under a row. And then I'm going to come down, or no, I'm going to go up the next stitch. And then I'm going to go down the next stitch, grab a piece of a row, and then I'm going to come up. And I'm going to go up that same stitch. Now you can go, your natural force is going to want you to go up and around like this and go up and catch stitches. But that's how this moves around. So if you want to make sure this piece stays right where it is, even though it's pretty secure, doing this extra step of coming out after you come down through a stitch will kind of help keep your pieces in place. So you're not pushing and twisting your piece you're sewing on. Just go to, when you go down, make sure you're catching a stitch. Come back up through both sides of the V of the piece you're sewing on. And then just continue that all the way around. So this one I'm going to just make sure I get a good chunk right by the eye. I guess I could be putting these in my little pin cushion. That's what it's for. So you can always go around a stitch, around a row, or just grab a piece of a stitch. Just up and down. And make sure you're going under the piece you're sewing on when you're doing this. It doesn't matter so much when it's the same color, but if this is a different color that you're sewing on, say you're sewing a black, I don't know, horn onto a purple face, you want to make sure your yarn and your stitches are all underneath the piece that you're sewing on. Otherwise you'll see all the stitch lines. No, I didn't catch very much. I'm just going to catch a little more of that stitch there. And there, you're already back at the end there. And I like to just go one more past, just because when you crochet in the round, it's not always even, and that just will help kind of even out that little edge there a bit. Then you're just going to grab a stitch underneath if you can find one. I don't know. Well, I can't, so I'm going to grab this stitch right there. And then just tie your knot. And pop that down. You can tie it once or twice, up to you. And then just pop that down and out. All right, let's make the next thing. So grab your color for your bow tie. Leave yourself, oh, I don't know, 8 to 12 inches of a tail. So you can tie, we're going to have a tail on both ends, and we'll use that to go around the neck. So make a knot with a loop on the end. We are going to be chaining. And we're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now in the second chain from the hook, so not the one that's on your hook and not this first one, but this second one, we're going to do 6 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Can't remember if I chained 1 before. Let's do a chain 1. Turn. Now we're going to do 6 more across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oops. And then you're just gonna tie that off, leaving yourself again a long tail. And now we have to thread our ends down and into the center. So decide what your front's going to be. It doesn't really seem to matter. I'm going to take this side and go in. So you're just going to weave that thread till you get to the center of your bow tie. And when you pull this, don't pull it so tight that you lose this corner. You want the knot in the back, but you don't want to lose the shape. And you're going to take your other side and do the same thing. Bring that stitch down and come out where your other string came out. And then again, make sure you keep that corner there. Then you're going to give it a loose tie and tighten it up as you go. That's good enough for me. Now this is going to be your back side where you're going to knot it. You're going to kind of take one of your strings, so take your longest string, and you're going to wrap it around 2 or 3 times right through the middle, kind of squeezing it as you go. I think, oh, I'm not in the middle. Let's get a little more in the middle. There we go. You want it to be even on both sides, and then you're just going to tie it in the back. I think I might have unwrapped it, but nice and tight so you get that shape you want. Sorry, my hands are kind of in the way while I'm tying. And then you're just going to put it around his neck. And tie it in the back. I just leave mine loosely tied in a bow. I don't make them permanent. You decide how you want to do yours. I'll just trim my ends so they're even. Cute. All right, next part. Grab your white, and you're going to make another, what do I need? Yeah, leave a tail. Then you're going to make another knot with the loop on the end because we're going to be chaining. And we're going to start with 12 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then just bring your guy over. This is his eyebrow, so just kind of measure it. You want it to go from his cheek, where his cheek and his eye meet down here, where his cheek and his eye meet on the other side, and kind of go over his eye and bend down. And that, I think that will work. So I've got 12. I'm just going to do, how am I twisted here? I'm just going to do one more time to tie off. Leave a long tail again. And now we're going to have to pin that. So our first pin will stick right here where the cheek and the eye meet. And then on the other side, same thing, where the cheek and the eye meet. Don't worry about the top right now. That is going to be how we make our curve, is by having this in the right spot. So once you have that, you're going to want to put a pin kind of at about the 45 degree on the eye, just to hold that in place. And then come to the center and pull that down as far as you want that to go. I think I like it like that. I'm just going to add a couple more pins in. Okay. So pick one of your sides now. And we're going to use both sides and go to the center. This yarn does not like to go on this needle. Okay, so the very first stitch, you are going to go down and around right alongside where you sewed the cheek on, assuming you're as close as I am. So right there between the eye and the cheek, and that's going to hold that piece down. And then we're just going to go up and down each chain till we get to the center. And I'm just grabbing the last outside chain, going up and down, under a stitch or a row, and then back up the next chain. Just like when we sewed the cheeks on. Just watch that it's not moving. Whoop, I just knocked something over. And then when you get to the center, it's a little tricky on how I want to finish off here. So for right now, I'm going down, I'm catching some stitches, and then I'm coming out the bottom. Okay, now you're going to get your other side going. And so same thing. You're going to come down. Actually, I think I went this way. So you're going to come down and around this stitch. Or you can't see that. Between the eye and the cheek. And if you can, try and get that knot so it's not as noticeable, because if you're like me, it will bug you and you'll be fiddling with it all the time. So then come up the next chain. Down the next chain and around, just like we've been doing. Up the next chain. Just kind of watch as you're doing this part here that you're not, what I was going to say, that you're keeping it the same, that you're keeping it the same as the other eye. Oh, I've been doing this too long today, obviously. Because you don't want one to come down lower than the other as you're going around, so just watch that. should have left that pin down there, I guess. Okay, and now I'm back in the center. So I'm going to do the same as I did. I'm going to go under, catch a stitch, and come up here. And that's where I'm going to tie it. I guess before you commit totally to tying that off, just double check that you're happy with it. Well, it doesn't seem as thick as the first one I did. Now you're just going to tie it nice and lightly. And you should be starting to look like something now. And then thread those out the back. Again, being careful not to pull your eyebrow down in. Oh, that worked perfectly. Oh, I kind of lost my dip there a bit. Trim that off. Fix your hole if you have one. Now I'm saving the hair till last because I'm going to just start you off on the hair and then let you finish that up on your own. So we're going to have to leave him like this for a minute and then we'll start on his jacket. Alright, we're going to start by making a knot with a loop on the end. We're going to be making a chain. You can leave a little bit of a tail that will be going over. So insert your hook. And we're going to be chaining 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Now we're going to be going in the second chain from the hook. So you don't count the one on the hook. This is your first chain and then this is your second chain. And make sure as you're going that your chain isn't twisting on you. So we're going to do 26 single crochets for row 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26. Then you're going to chain 1 and turn. Row 2, we're going to do 4 single crochets. We're going to chain 4, skip 4, do 10 single crochets, chain 4, skip 4, and then 4 single crochets for a total of 26. So starting in this first stitch right here, I'll do 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to skip 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we go into that 5th one. And we are going to do 10 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and go into that 5th stitch, and we're going to do 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and get down under both those V's for our 4th stitch. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn. Row 3, we're going to do 26 half double crochets across, and I'm going to break that up as we go. And if you're new to half double crochet, it's basically a single crochet, only you go yarn over before you go into your stitch. So yarn over to that first stitch, grab your yarn, pull up and through. You got your 3 loops on the hook now. Grab your yarn and pull through all 3 loops. And there's a half double crochet. So that's 1, yarn over, 2, yarn over, 3, and 4. Now you're going to do 4 in the 4 chains. And if you flip your chains over, you can see where you have to go in. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we'll have 10 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we're going to have 4 half double crochets in these chains, so flip them over. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Maybe 4. And then we'll have 4 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that was the hardest row in the whole thing, so if you got through that, you did awesome. chain 1 and turn. Row 4, we're going to do 5 half double crochets and increase, 14 half double crochets and increase, and then 5 half double crochets. So remember, yarn over every time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to do an increase, so 2 in the same stitch, 1 and 2, and then we're going to do 14 half double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then an increase, so 2 in the same stitch, 1 and 2, and then we should have 5 left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And get that in there. Chain 1 and turn. Row 5, we're going to do 6 half double crochets, an increase, 14 half double crochets, an increase, and 6 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then an increase, 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Then we'll do 14 half double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Then we're going to do our increase, so 1 and 2 in the same stitch, and then we'll have 6 single or half double crochets left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I don't know why I'm having a hard time getting in those ends. 6. Chain 1 and turn. Row 6, we're going to do 7 half double crochets, an increase, 14 half double crochets, an increase, and then 7 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then your increase, so 2 in the same stitch, then 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Then your increase, 2 in the same stitch, and then 7 half double crochets till the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Chain 1 and turn. Row 7, we're going to do 8 half double crochets, then an increase, 14 half double crochets, then an increase, and then 8 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then an increase, 1 and 2 in the same stitch, then 14 half double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then your increase, 1 and 2 in the same stitch, and then you should have 8 half double crochets left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Chain 1 and turn. Alrighty, row 9, or row 8, sorry. You're going to be doing 9 half double crochets, an increase, 14 half double crochets, an increase, and then 9 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then you're going to do your increase, 1 and 2 in the same stitch, then 14 half double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Then you're going to do your increase, 1 and 2 in the same stitch, and then you should have 9 half double crochets left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And now you're going to crochet all the way around. So if you think about a set, in between these two lines is 2 rows. And for every 2 rows of a half double crochet is 3 single crochets, because we're going back to single crochets. So we want 3 single crochets in between each set of these lines, and then you'll just kind of make it up as you go up here. So I'm going to chain 1 and then start my sets of 3 single crochets up. So I'll do 1 on this side of the line, 1 in the middle, and then 1 on the inside side of this line. Then I'm going to go over that line. So I'm on the inside of that line, in the middle somewhere, and then the inside of the next line. And just keep going like that. Inside, middle, inside. And then up here, I think try and get 2 or 3. So I'm on the inside, middle, and then the corner. And we'll put 3 in there. So that was 1, 2, 3, and then you're just going to go up top along all the back sides of the single crochets you made when you did your first chain. So I'm not counting, but there should be around 26. Whoopee. Okay, I'm getting to my corner here. And when I get to my corner, I'm going to do 3 single crochets in the end and try and kind of go over that knot so it's not as noticeable. And I'm going over my tail that I started with so I don't have to weave that in. And we had 3 in here. So that doesn't seem, seems like I need 4 on this side. I'm going to put 4 on this side for some reason. And then we need 3 single crochets between the lines, 1 on the inside, middle, up. I don't know why my hook keeps coming out. And then 1 again on the inside. Same thing, inside the line, middle, inside. And then when you get here, it's also do what you feel like. So I'm going to do 1, 2, and then 3 and slip stitch. A lot of those stitches were kind of in the same hole there. And then you'll tie that off. You need enough to weave in, so I don't know, about like that. So get your little darning needle, and you're going to want to decide what's your outside, and I like the outside, the round that you can see the V's clearly when I did my single crochet border. So this is the outside, or the inside to me, and then this is the outside. So I want to be on the inside when I'm weaving my end in. Did I say outside or inside? Inside I want to be on, so you can't see it. And you're just going to slide that down to one of the rows. I think I'm just going to do the first row here. Now you want to weave this in a few times, but you don't want to pull. You want to keep a bit of the looseness and stretchiness in here. You don't want to pull too tight. And then just weave it in and out as many times as you think you need. Or in my case, however much thread I left on the end, so I can only go one more time probably. And then you'll just trim that end off. Now you're going to want to flip it around so you're on the outside, the side you want showing, and we'll start the sleeves. So you'll make your knot with the loop on again with a small tail that we can go over in the first row. So about like that. That's about maybe an inch, inch and a half. Doesn't matter, you can cut it off if you make it too long. And what we're going to do is we need 4 stitches on the bottom, 4 stitches on the top, and a decrease on the sides. But I'm going to start over here in the second, or I guess the third. So I have 2 stitches, decrease, 4 stitches, decrease, 2 stitches on the bottom. Just so I can keep my starting seam on the bottom. So you're going to go in that loop, attach your yarn, do your chain 1, and then in that same stitch going over your tail you're going to do a half double crochet. It's a little tricky the first row, and then you're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch. And now you're going to be on the sides, so these 2 stitches right here on the side that you want to decrease into with a half double crochets. It's going to look awkward and feel awkward, but once you get around, it'll be okay. Now you'll have 4 stitches across the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that should bring you back to the side. So these 2 stitches right here, you're going to be doing a decrease in. So decrease. And then you'll be back on the bottom and you should have 2 stitches. If you don't, make up 2 stitches. 1 and 2, because you need to have 10 half double crochets. Anything less and your arm will be too tight to stick through that hole. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And rows 2 to 6 are just going to be 10 half double crochets all the way around. And I'm 2 to 6, that's 5 rows. So I'm just going to do 50 half double crochets and flip my marker every time I hit a set of 10. So starting in that first half double crochet we began with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So flipping my marker and keep on counting. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Flipping my marker, it's already flipped, I see. Keep on counting. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Flipping my marker. Keep on counting. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Flipping my marker. Keep on counting. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. And then you just slip stitch into the next stitch and tie that off, leaving a tail that you can weave in. All right, let's do the other side now. Make sure you're on the same side. Make your knot with the loop on the end so we can attach to the yarn. And we're going to be doing the exact same thing. We're going these last 2 stitches on the bottom. Oops. And do your chain 1 or your slip stitch, whatever you want to call that. And in that same stitch, we'll do our first half double crochet. And then in that second stitch, oh, it's tricky to find here. I'm just making my own stitch there. I don't know what happened. Now we're in the side. So that'll be our decrease. Then we'll have our 4 stitches across. 1, 2, 3, 24. Then we'll have our decrease for the side. And then we should have our 2 stitches on the bottom. Remember, we're doing half double crochets. There we go. We should have 10 stitches all the way around. So now I'm going to grab my marker and we're going to do rows 2 to 6, 10 half double crochets all the way around, and I'm going to do the same as the last sleeve. I'm going to count to 50. Remember, they're half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'll flip my marker. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, flipping my marker, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, flipping my marker, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, flipping my marker, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50. And then slip stitch in the next stitch and tie that off, leaving your tail to sew on or weave in. And I'm going to turn mine inside out. I don't always, and it just makes it a little easier to weave the sleeve part on. So I'm just going to come down a row or two. And then just weave back and forth a couple of times. Just remember when you're doing this, don't tighten your stitches when you're going back and forth, because it'll make it harder to stick his arm in. So just try and keep it nice and loose, and don't tighten it up too much. Okay, do the other side. I'm going to put that back in the right way so I remember what side is which side. Then inside out the other one. And do the same thing. So we'll come down a couple of rows, just like the last one. And I'm going to go this way this time. Not too tight, keep that nice and loose. And I'm going to go one more time. And then cut that off. Okay, and now for the hair. Guess we need the pin still. What I did this time, because come on, camera. Because his hairline kind of comes up and over, and he's got a really receded forehead. What I did was I took a piece of yarn, went across the top and over the sides, kind of at the back, so it was going to look like this. So like here's his arms, it's even with his arms. And what I did was I pinned it at the top, basically in the center of his head. Then I'm going to pin it down here about 3 or 4 stitches from his eyebrows, right where his cheeks are. And do the same on the other side. Then just double check that I was happy with where it was, and I think I'm going to come forward just one little bit. Then I'm going to use this line and actually go over this yarn with my hair strands. And then I'm going to come and go around in the circles until I get to about here. So the way I measured my yarn for this, you can, this camera angle is so tricky. Sorry guys, I'm so sorry. Okay. You can kind of take a length and see how long you want it, fold it in half, because it's going to be doubled over when we put it on. I figured it was long enough, the width of my hand, just like this. And then I just went around and around and around and around, I think around 50 times. And to me that was long enough. But if you want to measure a little more accurately, please do it that way. And then all you're going to do, I went from the back, and I just went around exactly where my line was that I made. And I'm going to put a couple more pins in there, just so it doesn't move while I'm twisting it around. excuse me, just remember to take the pins out when you're done, because I left that string there. So you're just going to grab your yarn, fold it over, come down and around, grab your yarn again, and then pull through to make that loop. And you're just going to keep on going all the way down. So every row gets a piece of hair going along this line. Make sure they're even. And this will take a long time, so just go, you want to take a break, or you got a show you like to watch while you do stuff, or just find a nice quiet place. So once you get all the way down to here, let's just see, is that how far down I went? Oh, I didn't go that far down. So I only went about halfway down the side of his head. So I have 1, 2, 3 rows with no hair. And then after I had that line, you can't really tell, but I just went around and around and around, back and forth. I'll show you on this one, a little easier. So I would start here, and I went around, and then I followed this row, this row, this row, this row, until I had it as full as I wanted it. So I think I probably went about to here. So I think I'm going to leave you here to finish off the hair. I think all the other parts you have. I hope you enjoyed this video. And just a reminder, anything that is in the background you see in my videos, there is a video for. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Not only does that help me out, but you will be notified every time I load a new video. Take care, be safe, and happy crocheting.